minute.
Yeah.
Or a minute and a half.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
We're like 30 seconds. You're rather long.
I know. I'm long-winded. Client retention, accounts receivable, gets down to a couple of different basic concepts and principles. And number one is if a client cannot afford to pay you, are they a client? So that's just, sort of the question, right? And,
right.
And so, many business relationships have ended because of the payment issue. Something arose, there was a problem, a misunderstanding, and so the client for some reason holds back payment, and the business owner oftentimes doesn't know what to do, and they have standard collection policy and procedures, but this is where the relationship starts to break down and diminish between the vendor and the customer. And so client retention accounts receivable systems are the development of processes and systems that start to establish the terms and conditions, open communication, and it really outlines what happens from the very beginning of the relationship in terms of payment, all the way through delinquencies for non-payment. What are the penalties going to be if we do not pay this bill? And we come into that relationship understanding the comprehensive payment approach, right? And so that's the beginning of the client retention aspect of that element. And so that's sort of the tee up on that. So I want to ask you, do you have systems in place to orient your new clients to your payment policies and procedures? The foundation of all of these elements that we've been talking about for the last 4 weeks is, client retention. We know that 80% of our business is going to come directly or indirectly from our current client base. So it's essential that, we do everything we can to retain our clients. We also know that it's going to cost us at least 8 to 10 times more for a new client acquisition than it is to maintain an existing client.
Money and effort.
Yeah, there you go. Money and effort. So resources. And so the AR aspect of client retention really is about 3 basic elements. Number one, it's having a system in place to be able to orient the new clients into your payments, your payment terms, payment conditions, the consequences for non-payment, and having that upfront contract.
Everybody, that is Mr. Tafoya's cell phone. He must have went to the location where he lost it yesterday. He mentioned that he lost it.
By the way, I did find for everybody, for everyone out there in metropolitan Denver who's still looking for my telephone.
I'm gonna delegate this to Jesus. When he goes into anything, because you're around most of the time now doing your thing, turn off his phone for him.
Okay. So every company needs to have that system in place, and you have to have that upfront contract with your new clients about what those terms and conditions are going to be, and what are the expected activities. So did you ever have that conversation with a client, Kimberly? I'm going to put you on the spot here a little, because sometimes clients don't pay on time.
You're right, Mike. It's very important to upfront have that open and honest communication about payment and what happens if payment isn't made.
A great example of that is, Mike, you're welcome aboard to Estrada Strategies, blah, 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 blah. I just want to let you know that, payment is due on the 1st. And is it okay with you if we don't receive that payment by the 3rd, 4th, or 5th, or whatever? Did I go ahead and pick up the phone and give you a call? Is that all right with you?
No, please don't. Well, I was going to do that, right? Because you always do that to me.
I know.
Well, and the bottom line is we have that conversation with our clients before we ever sign a contract. And so one of the terms, for payment at Estrada is, just as we expose what we do to, our clients and to our client base, is that we don't want to ever have a conversation with our clients. And that's what we tell them. And so our terms are, either a credit card, debit or a checking account debit. And it's at a scheduled time, and there's no conversation because we're more or less in control of that. And so we never have a conversation with our clients about payment. Now, once in a while, a credit card doesn't work for one reason or another, and we have to go to the clients and find out why. But that is really the extent of that. And, so you can establish that relationship right up front. And I tell them, you know what, one of the things is we never want payment to come in between our relationship with you and us.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
if you can set that up from the very beginning. And I encourage, well, you think about when you go to the bank or you buy a car and you do those things, that's the very first thing that you do is you sign a contract that outlines all of the payment terms and conditions throughout the entire relationship. Am I right?
Right.
Well, not only that, but nowadays,
why wouldn't we all do that in business?
And nowadays they highlight and make you initial. Do you understand?
Yeah,
initial here.
Yeah.
Do
so
you
why
understand?
wouldn't we do
Initial
that?
here.
That's right. And if all parties agree from the beginning, the relationship is going to be smooth.
Yeah, and it's rarely, you rarely, call the car company or the finance company and say, well, I'm going to end my relationship with you because I don't like the way,
Right.
It doesn't happen that way.
Right.
And that's because those terms and conditions are set forth at the beginning of the relationship, and you actually have to sign a contract, an agreement between the two entities of how these things are going to be handled. And so there's no discussion or negotiation